Hey everybody, Augie here for Playing Full Out. And normally I have guests, but actually, when you're seeing this, I'm going to be in the Philippines delivering wheelchairs. So I wanted to send you a different kind of message this week. You know, we're still in the month of January, and we've just started a brand new decade. So how about developing some 2020 vision? Yeah, that's right. You know, I wear glasses. Why? Because my vision is in 2020. But I've got an opportunity with this new year to create a vision that is 2020, whether I'm wearing glasses or not. And you've got the same opportunity. You see, we have the ability to see our future. So let me start by saying Happy New Year, but also Happy New Decade. There's a brand new decade in front of us. It's a unique opportunity to reflect and also to prepare for a transformative future. You know, back in 1960, I know most of you aren't around, but I was a little kid, and we had this guy get elected president. His name was John F. Kennedy, and he made the most outlandish claim I think had ever been heard before. He said by the end of the decade, by 1970, we're going to put a man on the moon, United States. Now, he didn't even live to see it, but that vision that he created, that idea he put in the head of America, became a reality. And in 1969, on July 24th, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the surface of the moon. Think about that, in 10 years. What is it you can accomplish over the next 10 years? You see, I see a lot of people on social media, especially on Facebook, posting these 10-year-old pictures of themselves, and they're pictures of themselves today, you know, the kind of before and after thing. And I have to chuckle at those, because some of them are pretty funny, no doubt about it. Styles change, hairdos change, you know, all sorts of things change. But there's a bigger thing. What if, instead of comparing our physical appearance, we compared our life results? Where were you 10 years ago? Where are you today? Where are you today? And where do you want to be 10 years from today? To me, that's a bigger question, and one that can have a whole lot more impact than saying, oh, look at my lousy hairdo then, or look at how much hair I've lost now. You know, the physical appearance is not nearly as important as what you do with your life. So think about what's changed for you over the last 10 years. How are you different today? What new skills do you have? Where have you become a master? Or what are you in the process of mastering? You know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at anything. I don't know if that's true or not, but 10,000 hours at $1,000 a year, or 1,000 hours a year, well, that's about 3 hours a day. You could become a master at almost anything in a decade. I know you say, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have 3 hours a day. Yeah, believe it or not, you do. You got 24, it's just how you use them. So how do you want to use those 24 hours to make that next decade, this next decade that we just started, put you in a position to live the rest of your life exactly the way you'd like to do it? You know, I like real estate, you know that. Now, what if in your case, you simply bought one rental house a year worth, say, maybe $200,000. And maybe you do 2 renovations a year, and you use the profits from those renovations for, instead of buying like a new fancy car or a big boat, what if you use them to start paying down your debt? And what if at the end of 10 years, you had 10 free and clear houses? That might be kind of significant, because if they're free and clear, and let's say you can only rent them for, I don't know, $1,500, $1,600 a month, my guess is your cash flow after expenses would probably be pretty close to $1,000. Now, if they're $200,000 houses today, what do you think they're going to be worth in 10 years? 250, 300? And what do you think rents are going to be? They're going to be a lot more than 1,500. So my guess is you'd be throwing off at least $10,000 a month in inflation-adjusted income. Think about that. Whether you're working or not working, whether you're home or away, healthy, sick, that cash flow comes in month after month. Plus, you've built an asset base that could be worth $2 to $3 million. Now, what I'm suggesting here is not that you go change your lifestyle as it exists today, but kind of keep things where they are while you're building. You're planting your garden, you're planting your seeds, you're planting an orchard. For me, I like to plant a vineyard because I like grapes, because I like wine. But think of this decade as your opportunity to plant something that's going to last and produce over and over and over again. You know, in the beginning, the first year, you might only do one transaction. You might only do one rehab. That's not going to help you knock down a lot of debt, is it? But what is it going to help you to do? It's going to help you to build your skills, because where you start in the decade isn't where you're going to end in the decade. By the end of the decade, you might be doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 flips a year. You might be doing some wholesaling. You might have thrown off enough cash to start doing private lending. All sorts of things can happen. The key is you've got to get started. Now, imagine you totally blew it and you only ended up with 5 free and clear houses and cash flow of $1,000 a month. You would still have $1 million asset in those 5 houses, maybe $1.5 million. You'd have $5,000 a month of inflation adjusted income. That's 60 grand. Now, granted, that might not float your vote, not everyone's anyway, but an extra 60 grand? So what if it took you another 5 years to get to 10 houses? Would you have to stop at that point, or could you continue going? One of my earliest mentors did that, and over about a 25-year period, he got himself 40 houses free and clear. Think about that. He ended up with a $4 million plus asset, income of $250,000 a year, and it also was inflation adjusted, and it got favorable tax treatment, all sorts of benefits. Now, most people don't earn $4 million in their entire career. Put that in perspective. So what does your vision for 2020 look like? Is it a 2020 vision? Think about where you want to see yourself at the end of 2029. How you're going to slide into the next decade. You know, I see too many people today are exactly where they were 10 years ago. No progress, no transformation. Now, thankfully, I've seen a lot of other folks that have completely transformed themselves and have a whole new life. It's really up to you. Wouldn't it be great to be living a life that others only dream about? Well, it's okay to dream, but if you don't write your dream down and turn it into a goal and then act on it, 10 years from today, you'll be saying, I wish I had, instead of I'm glad I did. But imagine flipping that around and 10 years from today being able to say, I'm glad I did. That's really what you want to focus on, because that's what some people are going to do. They're going to say, I'm so glad I did. While others are sitting there saying, I wish I had. We've got a brand new year in front of us. I wish you great success. I'm here in the Philippines delivering wheelchairs. It's one of the things I wanted to do. I never expected to be doing as much of it as I'm doing these days, but 10 years ago, I simply donated 2 wheelchairs. This year, we're going to deliver 2, possibly 3 container loads. It's amazing what you could do in a decade. Thanks, stay well, and I'll see you soon. And never forget, play full out.